How to use game theory to make better decisions. Making decisions is hard, and often no matter what we choose, we can't help but second guess ourselves. Should I have gone with the other option? Was that the right call? If only there was a way to know for sure whether we're making the best possible choices. Well, as it turns out, there is game theory. By understanding and applying game theory, we can make better decisions both in our personal lives and in business. So how does it work? This is Capitalist Domain, and in this video, we'll explore how game theory can be used to identify and optimize outcomes in decision-making situations. So if you're ready to learn how to make better decisions, let's get started! What is game theory? Game theory is the study of how people make decisions. It is often used to understand how humans interact with one another, as well as how they interact with animals and computers. Developed by Nobel Prize-winning economist John Nash, game theory is a way of thinking about how people behave in situations where there are conflicting interests. Game theory has been used to study a wide variety of topics, including economics, political science, psychology, biology, and even philosophy. In recent years, game theory has seen a resurgence in popularity, thanks in part to its application to real-world problems. For example, game theory has been used to develop better strategies for everything from auctions to international trade negotiations. There are 4 key concepts in game theory: Nash equilibrium, dominant strategy, dominated strategy, and mixed strategy. Nash equilibrium is a situation in which all players in a game are in the best possible position given the other player's choices. A dominant strategy, on the other hand, is a strategy that is always better than any other strategy regardless of what the other player does. Meanwhile, a dominated strategy is a strategy that is never better than any other strategy regardless of what the other player does. Lastly, a mixed strategy is a combination of 2 or more strategies where each strategy is used with some probability. Now that we've covered the basics of game theory, let's look at how it can be used to make better decisions. How can game theory be used in business? One of the most important applications of game theory is in business. In many cases, businesses are competing against each other for customers, resources, or market share. As such, it is important for businesses to understand how game theory can be used to gain an advantage over their competitors. There are a few different ways that businesses can use game theory to their advantage. For example, businesses can use game theory to develop pricing strategies. By understanding how customers make decisions, businesses can set prices that maximize their profits. Additionally, businesses can use game theory to understand how their competitors are likely to respond to various actions. This knowledge can be used to develop strategies that give a business a competitive edge. In addition to business, game theory has a wide range of applications. For instance, game theory has been used to develop better auction strategies. Additionally, game theory has been used to study political science and develop improved voting systems. Game theory has even been used to understand how animals make decisions. The prisoner's dilemma. One of the most famous examples of game theory in action is the prisoner's dilemma. In this scenario, 2 prisoners are each offered the same deal. If they confess to a crime, they will go free while their accomplice will be imprisoned for 10 years. If they both stay silent, they will each be imprisoned for 5 years. However, if one prisoner confesses while the other does not, the confessor will go free while the other will be imprisoned for 20 years. Given these options, what should each prisoner do? If both prisoners act in their own self-interest, they will both confess and go free. However, if both prisoners cooperate with each other, they will only serve 5 years apiece. The dilemma then is that the best outcome for both prisoners is only possible if they put aside their self-interest and cooperate with each other. The prisoner's dilemma is just one example of how game theory can be used to study human behavior. In many cases, game theory can be used to develop strategies that lead to better outcomes for all parties involved. By understanding how people make decisions, businesses, politicians, and even ordinary citizens can use game theory to improve the world around them. The Battle of the Sexes. The Battle of the Sexes is another famous game theory example. In this scenario, two people are trying to decide what to do on a Saturday night. One person wants to go to a ballet while the other would prefer to go to a boxing match. If they can't agree on an activity, they will both stay home and watch TV. The key question in this scenario is how likely each person is to get their preferred outcome. If one person is very likely to get their preferred outcome, then they have a dominant strategy. For example, if the person who wants to go to the ballet is very likely to get their way, then their dominant strategy is to go to the ballet. On the other hand, if neither person is very likely to get their preferred outcome, then they have a mixed strategy. In this case, each person would randomly choose either the ballet or the boxing match. The Battle of Sexes is an example of how game theory can be used to analyze human behavior. By understanding how people make decisions, game theory can be used to develop strategies that lead to better outcomes for all parties involved. The Monty Hall Problem. The Monty Hall problem is a famous puzzle that has been used to illustrate the importance of probability. In this scenario, there are 3 doors. Behind one of each is a prize. The contestant must choose one door, after which the host will open one of the other doors, revealing an empty room. The contestant is then given the option to switch doors. The key question in this scenario is whether or not the contestant should switch doors. The answer may seem counterintuitive, but it is actually quite simple. If the contestant does not switch doors, they have a 1/3 chance of winning the prize. However, if the contestant does switch doors, they have a 2/3 chance of winning the prize. This puzzle illustrates how important it is to consider all the possible outcomes when making a decision. By understanding probability, businesses and individuals can make better decisions that lead to improved outcomes. Chicken or the egg? There is an age-old question that has baffled philosophers and scientists for centuries. Which came first, the chicken or the egg? According to game theory, the answer is both. In a game theoretical model, there are 2 players, each with 2 strategies, chicken and egg. If both players choose chicken, then they both get nothing. If both players choose egg, then they both get something, an egg. However, if one player chooses chicken and the other player chooses egg, then the player who chooses egg gets nothing and the player who chooses chicken gets something, a chicken. So in this model, it is better for both players to choose egg. But what if we change the payoff so that it is better for both players to choose chicken? In that case, the answer is still both. This may seem like a silly example, but it illustrates an important point. In game theory, there is no single right answer because it all depends on the payoff. The best decision is the one that leads to the best payoff for you, given what you know about the other player's strategies. So next time you're wondering whether to have chicken or egg for dinner, just remember it all depends on the game you're playing. Benefits of using game theory. Game theory can be used to analyze any situation in which there are 2 or more people making decisions. By understanding how people make decisions, Game theory can be used to develop strategies that lead to better outcomes for all parties involved. Get better results in negotiations. If you've ever been in a negotiation, you know that it can be a delicate balance between getting what you want and giving the other person what they want. But what if there was a way to take the guesswork out of the negotiation? For example, let's say you're trying to negotiate a higher salary with your boss. If you know that your boss is risk-averse, then you can use this to your advantage by making a higher initial offer. Your boss is more likely to accept an offer that is close to their ideal outcome, even if it means giving up some of their negotiating power. Similarly, if you're trying to sell your house, you can use game theory to find the right place to list it at. By understanding the principles of game theory, you can make sure that you always come out ahead in your negotiations. Design more efficient markets. Imagine you're at the grocery store, trying to decide whether to buy organic bananas or regular bananas. The organic bananas are more expensive, but you're not sure if they're actually worth the extra cost. You could try to do some research on the subject, but ultimately, you'll have to make a decision based on limited information. This is where game theory comes in. By understanding how people make decisions in situations like this, game theory can help to design more efficient markets. For example, if the price of organic bananas are too high, people may be less likely to buy them, leading to a surplus of unsold bananas. On the other hand, if the prices are too low, producers may not be able to cover their costs, leading to a shortage of organic bananas. By understanding how people respond to different prices, game theory can help to ensure that markets function more efficiently. Predict political elections. In any given election, there are a number of factors that can influence the outcome. From the economy to foreign policy, voters take a variety of issues into consideration when choosing a candidate. However, game theory provides a way to predict how people will vote based on their self-interest. By analyzing the incentive structure of an election, game theorists can develop models that accurately predict the outcome. While some may see game theory as a cold and calculating approach to politics, its ability to accurately predict voting behavior has made it an essential tool for political campaigns. Limitations of game theory. While game theory is a powerful tool, it does have its limitations. One of these limitations is that it assumes that all players are rational. This means that they will always choose the strategy that leads to the best outcome for them, given the information they have. However, in reality, people are not always rational. They may make decisions based on emotions or gut instinct rather than pure logic. This means that game theory may not always accurately predict human behavior. Another limitation of game theory is that it requires complete information. This means that all players must know all of the possible outcomes of their choices before making a decision. However, in many real-world situations such as business negotiations or political campaigns, this is simply not possible. Despite these limitations, game theory is still a useful tool for understanding human behavior. By considering all of the possible outcomes of a decision, businesses and individuals can make better choices that lead to improved outcomes. We hope you found this video helpful. Remember to subscribe to our channel for more videos like this one. Don't forget to share this video with your friends and family. See you next time!